Here we are, Ray Ives, The Pen of an Underdog. Going through the book, I just want to say this. Take the shortcut. Get the book. Like right now, get the book, The Pen of an Underdog. Read it. There's golden nuggets in there. And I know I sound like a broken record when I say that there's golden nuggets, but there's going to be a silver lining in there. There's going to be a story that resonates with you, that pulls on your heartstrings. It's going to say this. If he could write a book in 30 days, then I can do anything. And I wholeheartedly believe that. So I'm going to put it up here, The Pen of an Underdog. It's on Amazon, Ray Ives. Check it out. The next part of this book is still in part one, but it's the underdog playing above the rim. Now, I think playing above the rim was a term coined way back when. I could tell you this. Growing up and watching Michael Jordan, the essence of finesse over force, how he would win and elegantly win is just something to note. And especially as a child, that has a profound effect throughout your life. Is when you grow up and think about Chicago sports. The Bulls won 6 championships. Like those teams will forever be in history. And that's what it's about, is attaching to that, attaching to greatness, like understanding and having that feeling. It's like, you know what? I was a part of that. That's part of my history. That's part of my city. That's part of everything. Now, playing above the rim, that was going to be my new standard of life's journey, playing above the rim. Because if you want something, the first step in goal attainment is you have to want it. If I'm like, oh, you know what, you're going to be the most successful day trader in the universe. And it's like, yeah, that's great. I'll be a day trader. I'll have all this money and then I'll buy things and then I'll give things away and I'll help people. And it's like, but then I have to show up and sit at my desk and be a day trader. For whatever reason, I'm just not programmed to do that. Okay. I'm just not. So the first thing in attaining a goal is that you have to pick something. And this is where authenticity comes in. You have to want it, but it has to be authentic to who you are, your DNA, your life apprenticeship leading up to this moment, and saying, okay, like I want this. And I don't want it because society or social norms or there's some type of program or motivation that says like, I want to buy real estate or I want to buy stocks or I want this or another. It's like you have to look at yourself. At least that's what I did. And again, this is what the book is about and this is why I'm sharing it. You have to want it. That's like the first step in anything. Now, I would say the one thing that I wanted more than anything, and this is probably if I look back at my life, and I'll say this again, I consider myself successful in my own eyes when I look at myself in the mirror because of where I came from, what I came from, and I compare myself from then till now. There's a realm of successful people, like I'm not in it, okay? But I look at myself and I'm confident in what I've accomplished. But I would tell you this, the one thing that I wanted more than anything on this earth, more than anything, growing up watching Michael Jordan, those championships, watching Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb, I wanted to dunk. I wanted to play above the rim. And so I knew, I was like, okay, I want that. Problem was, at least for me, was 6'1". I'll say that. I'm just stop there. I was 6'1", right? So that's a problem, right? That's a problem for some. It was my problem. I wasn't tall enough. Long story short, I wanted this. I wanted to play above the rim. I wanted to be a new standard of life. And so I did everything. Distance running, sprinting, running uphill, squats with free weights, medicine ball lunges, jumping on and off a box, everything. And I gave everything. I even did this like polymetric product. It was called Jump Soles. It was like these big Velcro. They were like weights, but they were like shaped, molded to like a gym shoe. And there's a gym shoe on bottom. And I remember like taking these things and going far off. There was a huge toboggan hill. And, you know, on this hill, there'd be people of all ages, really, but mostly like middle-aged women would be walking up and down. And I was running up and down the steps with like these polymetric things on. I looked ridiculous. But it was motivation, right? And that's what it's about, is like the motivation. Long story short, fast forward. The first alley-oop, I remember, like my buddy, he threw it up and it was like right at the apex, it was above the rim, and I was able to grab it and like slam it down. That was the first time I did alley-oop and it felt great. I remember going to like my neighborhood in like the southwest side of Chicago and like putting on a show, just being able to get up and dunk. And it was like, it just felt great. That is the biggest accomplishment of my life. I look back and think I wanted that so bad. And I did it, right? I did it. I may have not done it for long, but I did it. I got up, I dunked, and it just felt amazing. Like legitimate superpower. Legitimate superpower. And it made me realize something. That's what I want to share. And that's like, The Power of the Pen of an Underdog, the book. When one day you wake up and you decide to live in a higher standard or play above the rim, it's a distinction. When you're talking about playing above the rim, it denotes playing with massive hops. Like you jump out of the gym. You have an advantage over most. It's a benefit in the game of basketball. And then you think like, okay, let's play above the rim. If I could figure out how to slam dunk, alley-oop, and I'm talking about like we're dunking, like I'm talking about getting the ball, putting it over, slamming it, pulling myself up on the rim, slapping the backboard like that. Like I'm talking about like a cool slam dunk. And again, I'm a humble guy, but I get excited when we start talking about playing above the rim because being able to slam dunk just was the greatest thing for me ever. So it transfers in life too. Playing above the rim means you're more prepared than 90% of the people. Wherever that is, at your office, in your job, competitors, the series, enemies, like you're more prepared. It's like you brought your talent, and with your talent, you brought high work on a higher standard. Oh, playing above the rim. I had to share that story. I know it's simple. Again, it's not a brag like, oh, like I was able to slam dunk. Like it's the story of the underdog. Okay. So let's stay connected. Ray Ives, the Pen of an Underdog. Subscribe, check it out. There's more to come. Like there's more stories. I'm barely through this.